So old money style, fairly straightforward. You're talking about something simple, minimalist, but at the same time, very high quality. If you have old money, you do not need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to try hard to get attention, but you do want to live your life as comfortably as possible. So it's a laid-back style, but everything that you wear is high quality. You have the money to be able to afford it. A perfect example of this style is the Kennedy family, particularly John F. Kennedy Jr. and his wife, Carolyn Bessette. They never wore anything outrageous, but they were always very neat, clean, casual, and their look was compelling. And for all their flaws, designer or niche, there is no better house that embodies this style than Chanel. This is Chanel Chance Eau Tendre for women. Now, this is a fruity floral, very popular style among women. The profile here and the notes, very similar to dozens of fragrances on the market. The only real difference here is superior quality. That's it. Simple, classy, elegant. Today I have 8 high-quality fragrances that embody the old money style, and they don't try too hard. Fragrance number 1 is Chanel Platinum Egoiste. This is the most requested fragrance to be reviewed by far. I would not own this fragrance were it not for channel donations. One person in particular, Mr. Sandlin, $5, $10 every week for months, made it possible for me to go out and buy the fragrance despite the fact that I wasn't too interested. Now, I gotta be honest here, I misinterpreted what this was, kind of. So I assumed it was just a standard fougere, a standard barbershop. This is a fresh fougere. This is much closer to something like green Irish tweed than it is to, your typical barbershop. So it's a barbershop with added freshness. The crazy thing is, I like this even more than green Irish tweed. Now, they're different styles, but I really like it. And I find it, and this is a key, I find it even airier than the fragrance that invented airiness. This is even airier to my nose anyway than green Irish tweed. And much like Chance, really this is just about quality. I mean, I could tell you the notes, lavender and oak moss. I could tell you it gets freshness from rosemary and geranium, but that wouldn't tell you anything. There are millions of fragrances out there like that. This is just higher quality. It's just better. And the weird thing about this fragrance was this was not planned. The original Egoiste was, however, it came out in 1990. It was a warm, spicy, woody scent, and they spent over $1 million in early 90s money making a fake facade of a hotel in the middle of a Brazilian desert. But the Egoiste fragrance was a warm, spicy, woody scent. It was a cool weather scent. And at the time, fragrances that were really popular were things like Eternity and Cool Water. So fresh fougères. Chanel told Jacques to go back to the drawing board, and he came up with this. And actually, he said that this is his favorite fragrance that he ever made for men, and I can certainly see why. Chanel Allure Sport Superleggera. At this point, it's been around quite a while. Initially, it was a limited edition, and now it is a permanent part of the Allure Sport line. A couple things about this. I quite like it, but there were a couple of surprises. I could not believe how sweet this actually is. The Allure Sport line, I mean, it does have sweetness, but in the open, it's quite fresh. You don't really pick up the sweetness until later on in the fragrance. And the sweetness you do pick up tends to be vanillic, not candied, which is what I get here. So what they've done here is they've taken a lot of citrus. There's a generic citrus note, there's grapefruit and mandarin, and they've concentrated it and they've combined it with amber and musk. So a lemon candy vibe. It's sweet, but in a different way than all of the other fragrances which are focusing on vanilla and tonka. So there's been a bit of a switch up in the Allure Sport line. The one thing that I find interesting is the name Superleggera. It's Italian, meaning super light. I find this to be the least light of all the Allure fragrances that I've tried. I find it quite dense and sweet right off the bat. With the other fragrances, as I said, you're going to get it as a sweet later on. I do think the performance is really good here, better than some of the other fragrances. So yeah, I was really surprised just how sweet it was. This I tried after trying L'Exclusive, which was also in a candy direction. So it looks like Chanel is going in a sweet direction, but in a different way. Anytime there's variety, I'm all in. So yeah, it's not bad. Fragrance number 2 is Eau d'Ombre Leather by Tom Ford, or as I like to call it, not Baby Cat. This is constantly compared to Baby Cat, and I didn't pick that up. I mean, I've tried Baby Cat numerous times. I have a really good clone of it, and when I tried this, the first thing that came to my mind was not Baby Cat, and that's because there are a ton of differences. Yes, they are in the same ballpark. They have a leather note that is really more of a suede note in both cases, and both have vanilla. But that's where the similarities end. Baby Cat has vanilla in the base, so you get that sweet vanilla throughout. It's also a lot more dense than Eau d'Ombre leather, and that's why this has Eau in the name. It is a lighter fragrance. Nobody ever called Baby Cat light under any circumstances. The base of this fragrance is ambroxan, or in this case, Ambrofix. There's vanilla here, but it's earlier in the fragrance and it dissipates over time. But the core of this fragrance is ambroxan. That is a fresher type of sweetness. And when it comes to the accents of this, it's essentially cardamom and coriander, so warm, spicy. Whereas the accent in Baby Cat is fresh resin. So you're going to get olibanum and elemi. So it's a very different fragrance outside of the fact that they both have some vanilla and they're both leather based. Fragrance number 4 is Encre Noire à l'extrême. And yes, there has to be a vetiver note when you're talking about old money style, about not trying too hard. Vetiver doesn't try hard at all. It's just clean and professional. It sits in the background. If you notice, great. If you don't, great. That's fine too. There had to be a vetiver scent, and this probably my top 2 vetiver scents that I own, even though it's quite inexpensive. Now, this isn't as minimalist as the original Encre Noire fragrance. There's a little bit more complexity here, but you're still getting a ton of vetiver. They've actually layered 2 different vetiver notes on top of one another. They're getting a Haitian vetiver, which is green grassy, on top of an Indonesian vetiver, which is more smoky. So you're getting 2 vetiver notes for the price of 1. You're also getting a little bit of benzoin. That's the part that I really notice here. It's got a little bit of ambery feel to it that you don't get in the other fragrances. And then you get, of course, the freshness of the cypress is important, and that's backed up with elemi as well. So you're going to get some more freshness there. So yeah, the complexity here is a little greater than the original Encre Noire, but you are going to pay a price when you buy an inexpensive fragrance when you're dealing with a vetiver, and that price is they're going to use more aroma chemicals than naturals. And the problem with aroma chemicals when it comes to woods is sometimes you can go nose blind a lot easier to them than you can to the natural elements. So if you don't smell this, if you after an hour, you're like, where's it gone? It's not the vetiver doing that. It's the aroma chemicals. That is the price you're going to pay. But overall, it's still an exceptional fragrance, and it is one of my favorites. Fragrance number 5 is Issey Miyake's Noir Ambre. This is a beautiful, top 10 designer winter fragrance that I own. Beautiful fragrance. I don't talk about it though because it has been discontinued and it's very difficult to find. However, I noticed that there were a number of bottles available at FragranceNet a couple of days ago, $73. That's a really good price. Unfortunately, it is sold out now. However, I have noticed that it does keep coming back time and time again, usually at Fragrance Buy. In this case, FragranceNet. There are rumors that they've reformulated it and re-released it. All I know is it's sold out again. So it's still rare, still a difficult find, but my God, it is an absolutely beautiful scent and definitely old money. The quality here is exceptional. And I say that because this is often compared to Parfum de Marly Habdan, a fragrance that is almost 3 times the price. But this is better. I like it more. Habdan is denser. It's got a similar scent profile. It has apple that this doesn't, but similar scent profile, but it's very dense. This has got some freshness. There's a lot of saffron here and cinnamon that lightens up the overall effect. Ultimately, this is a sweet leather fragrance. You're going to get vanilla, leather, and vanilla, amber, and tonka, but it's mainly the amber that does most of the work, and then you're going to get the leather with it as well. Just a beautiful scent, really good performance. If in fact it has been reformulated, I can't speak to that because I do have the original. Again, I don't know if it has. That's just a rumor, but the bottle that I have, the performance is outstanding. And it is fundamentally a simple fragrance. It's linear. There's not a lot of changes. It just smells really good, really classy winter scent. One of the problems with the constant releasing of new fragrances, last year there were over 8,000 released. I have no idea how many we're going to get this year, is the fact that some really good fragrances go under the radar. One of those fragrances is Velours Boisee. This is from the house of Jacques Fath. Now, this is a very serious house. It is a niche house. It is based in Paris. It goes all the way back to 1946. Jacques Fath was very well known in perfumery circles, and yet I was able to get two of these fragrances, this and Le Laudin, for $15 earlier in the year, which is insane. This is a parfum concentration, and the quality, you can really tell with the magnet. I mean, this is probably the strongest magnet. The presentation is beautiful. This is a strange scent, though, in that it is a mellow whiskey scent. Normally you get a lot of like Bentley for Men Intense. The whiskey is like super strong and in your face. But this is more of an old money whiskey. This very chill, very mild sweetness that you're going to get here. It's also quite woody. The main wood is sandalwood, but there are two other woods. Then you get the whiskey note, but the sweetness here comes from immortelle. So think a hay sweetness, so more of an earthy sweetness. So it comes across as mature, mellow, mildly boozy. Performance is about 6 hours, not a ton of projection, but it's very laid back, very, very high quality. You can get this now. It has been discontinued, but you can still buy it at Macy's. It's about $100, I believe, for 100 milliliters. Canadians don't have access to the Macy's website, which is that's an odd quirk, but I really do recommend this regardless of price. I think it's very high quality. Now, this particular fragrance, I have to say this, it is probably the strangest discrepancy that I have upon wearing. There's sometimes when I wear this where the whiskey note just bugs me. There's something about it I don't like. And that happens with me and whiskey sometimes. And then there are other times where I like this even more than the other Jacques Fath fragrance I have, Le Laudin. It just comes across as just absolutely beautiful. So I do have a mixed relationship with this, but lately I've been wearing this a ton. It is so boozy and sweet in a mild way. It is the ultimate old money boozy scent that I have tried so far. Fragrance number 7 might come as a surprise. It is Versace pour Homme. This is a $50 fragrance for 100 milliliters. It is fairly inexpensive. It might seem odd on this list, but bear in mind that this is remarkably similar to Chanel Allure Sport, a fragrance that really does embody old money. And even though there's a lot of similarities, you could almost call this a clone. You have to understand that the perfumer here wasn't someone in the Middle East who you've never heard of that's doing the cloning. It was Alberto Marias, who's basically taking a page out of Jacques Polsch's book and coming up with this. So very high quality scent, at least in terms of the construction of it. I can't speak to I'm certain that the aroma chemicals and the naturals are going to be cheaper, but fragrance comes across really, really nicely. And as I mentioned earlier when I talked about the other Allure Sport line, you're going to get freshness off the top, lemon and bergamot. You're going to get a little hint of an aromatic feel, and then sweet tonka in the base. The first time I picked up the sweetness, a big smile on my face. I'm like, okay, that's what everybody was talking about. But a really, really good fragrance. Similar performance to Allure Sport. And if you're short of funds, this will work in a pinch. Another inexpensive option, I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but I tend to put the cheaper fragrances at the end of the video because not everybody can afford to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on fragrances. I was certainly like this for the first couple of years I started collecting. And so I have something that really does embody old money without costing too much. This is Burberry Touch, a really pleasant fragrance. It's been around for 26 years. It's not going anywhere. And say what you want about the price and the performance. The performance is okay. It's about 4 hours. The quality here and what it embodies is very much old money. It is clean. You're going to get a lot of pepper and musk and violet leaf. So violet leaf is the ultimate clean note. So there's a little bit of difference here. There's a touch of sweetness. There's a freshness from the pepper and the violet leaf. It's just a pleasant fragrance. It's stuck around a long time. It's something you can wear in the office. The only problem with that is the fact that you will have to reapply throughout the day, maybe at lunchtime reapply. But it's just a pleasant scent that isn't try hard, but it's different. It doesn't smell like everything else on the market, and that's one of the reasons why it has lasted so long. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I think we haven't had an old money video in like a year and a half. This is a really nice aesthetic that I aspire to, certainly. And I just thought that, yeah, we needed another old money video. And thanks everybody for the donations. It really played a huge role in me being able to acquire fragrances. Yeah, because I mean, I'm always going to be putting money back in the channel because this is what I love to do. Anyway, thanks for watching.